Have you ever felt a shift in the air, an inexplicable tension that seems to signal change, but without any visible cause? Something stirring quietly beneath the surface of the ordinary, moving faster than our awareness can catch. There are moments in life, rare and profound, when certain individuals seem to appear as if drawn by forces beyond understanding. These are often referred to as the chosen ones in stories, myths, and philosophical reflections across cultures. Not chosen in a literal, divine sense, but distinguished by timing, insight, or circumstance. People whose presence brings a subtle but undeniable ripple through the world around them. They do not announce themselves. There are no signs or warnings before they arrive. And yet, once they appear, the environment seems to recognize their significance instantly. What is it that makes someone a chosen one? In this sense, is it knowledge, intuition, resilience, or the ability to act decisively when opportunity arises? Scholars and thinkers throughout history have often argued that it is not the individual alone, but the intersection of person and moment. A person may possess extraordinary potential, yet without the right conditions, that potential remains dormant. Conversely, the moment may be ripe, but if there is no one capable to engage with it, the moment passes without consequence. The chosen ones emerge when both the individual and the circumstances align, creating an event that seems almost preordained, yet entirely natural. Consider the concept through a practical lens. In every generation, certain people make decisions that alter the course of communities, industries, or even global movements. Sometimes their influence is quiet, imperceptible at first, affecting only a few lives, only to expand over time. Other times, it is dramatic, shifting entire structures with a single insight or action. What distinguishes these people is not merely their skill or ambition, but their capacity to respond to emerging opportunities with clarity, courage, and presence. They notice what others overlook, act when others hesitate, and carry an awareness that is both deep and focused. Yet, the arrival of such individuals is unpredictable. There are no patterns, no universally reliable indicators. History shows that the emergence of influential figures often coincides with periods of tension, uncertainty, or upheaval. Is it coincidence, or is there a deeper principle at work, one that cannot be quantified, but is felt in the subtle rhythms of human experience? People across different belief systems and philosophical traditions have observed that certain presences in life seem almost magnetic, do not maltension and shaping outcomes in ways that defy conventional explanation. This unpredictability challenges us to remain attentive, to cultivate our own awareness, and to recognize when extraordinary influence enters our sphere, even if it arrives silently. The true question is not merely who these individuals are, but what their arrival demands from those around them. Are we ready to perceive, to respond, to integrate the changes they bring? Do we have the openness to reflect, adapt, and learn from forces that appear without warning? As we explore this phenomenon, it becomes clear that understanding the chosen ones is not about idolizing them or attributing supernatural power, but about recognizing the patterns of influence, timing, and human potential. It invites us to examine our own readiness and the ways in which we engage with moments that require courage, insight, and ethical reflection. In a world where change can come swiftly and silently, observing and learning from these presences can transform not only our perception, but also our actions. The arrival of such individuals often leaves a subtle yet profound impression, one that lingers long after they have moved on. It is not always dramatic or overt. Sometimes it is a quiet influence that shifts the direction of thought, inspires action, or awakens awareness in those who witness it. Have you ever met someone who seemed ordinary at first glance, yet after time, their words or choices continue to resonate, challenging your perspective in ways you cannot fully explain? This is the essence of their impact. They operate on a plane where timing, intention, and perception intersect, creating effects that ripple through both personal and collective experience. What makes their presence so compelling is that it often defies expectation. Unlike leaders or figures who seek recognition, these individuals are rarely self-announcing. Their significance is discovered retrospectively, recognized only after the changes they initiate begin to manifest. Philosophers and sociologists have noted that the influence of such people is rarely about authority or power in the conventional sense. Rather, it is the capacity to catalyze thought, action, and adaptation in those around them. They illuminate possibilities that were previously unseen, revealing pathways through uncertainty and prompting reflection on values, choices, and priorities. History provides countless examples where seemingly unremarkable individuals have stepped into moments of crisis or opportunity and left lasting impressions. It could be an innovator who reimagines a field of knowledge, a thinker who reframes social understanding, or an individual who embodies resilience in a way that inspires others. Their arrival is not heralded by signs or warnings, yet it changes trajectories profoundly. The unpredictability of such emergence challenges us to remain observant, to cultivate sensitivity to human potential, and to engage with the present moment with awareness. It reminds us that influence is not always loud. Often, it is quiet, deliberate, and transformative in ways that cannot be measured immediately. But what does this mean for us as observers, participants, or witnesses? Does it suggest that we are passive spectators, or does it call us to a higher form of engagement? The presence of these individuals serves as a mirror, reflecting our own capacities, limitations, and readiness to act. Are we prepared to recognize opportunity when it presents itself? Can we respond with discernment, integrity, and purpose, even when the circumstances are ambiguous or the guidance unclear? Their arrival prompts reflection, not only on their qualities, but also on the latent potential within ourselves, our ability to perceive, adapt, and contribute meaningfully to the unfolding of events. This phenomenon also invites us to consider the ethics of influence and responsibility. The chosen ones do not act in isolation. Their impact depends on the interconnectedness of human experience. Every interaction, every decision, reverberates through a network of relationships, communities, and systems. Observing how they navigate complexity and uncertainty can teach us lessons about discernment, moral clarity, and the courage to act in alignment with principles rather than mere convenience. Ultimately, their presence challenges us to cultivate attentiveness, reflection, and intentionality in our own lives, reminding us that extraordinary influence often arrives without notice, demanding awareness, readiness, and wisdom from those who encounter it. The influence of these individuals often extends beyond what we immediately perceive. It can manifest as a subtle shift in thinking, a change in the energy of a group, or even an awakening of possibilities that were previously invisible. Have you noticed moments when a conversation, an encounter, or a single act seems to redirect your thoughts, priorities, or decisions in ways you could not have anticipated? This is the quiet power of presence, the way certain people affect the course of events without drawing attention to themselves. Their impact is rarely about recognition or status. It is about alignment, being in the right place at the right time, equipped with insight, clarity, and the capacity to act. What sets these individuals apart is their attunement to circumstance and awareness. They seem to perceive patterns, needs, and opportunities that others overlook. Philosophers have often called this a form of practical wisdom, the kind that allows one to navigate complexity with both foresight and flexibility. It is not about foresight in the mystical sense, but an acute sensitivity to the dynamics of human experience, ethics, and timing. When we reflect on this, it becomes clear that their arrival is not random. It is shaped by preparation, perception, and the capacity to engage meaningfully with challenges as they arise. Interestingly, the arrival of such individuals often catalyzes collective growth. A single action, idea, or demonstration of integrity can inspire others to rethink assumptions, question habitual patterns, or take courageous steps themselves. Their influence is not coercive, it is relational, reflective, and generative. This raises profound questions about the nature of leadership, impact, and influence. Does true transformation always require visibility, authority, or control? Or can it emerge quietly, organically, through presence, example, and ethical responsiveness? The experiences of communities, organizations, and even societies suggest that meaningful change frequently follows the footsteps of those who act decisively, yet unobtrusively, who speak truth through action rather than proclamation. Yet, there is also an element of unpredictability. No formula guarantees the emergence of such individuals, and no measure can predict precisely when or how their presence will matter. Life's currents often move silently, and extraordinary influence arrives without ceremony, warning, or announcement. For those paying attention, this unpredictability is a call to readiness, to cultivate discernment, ethical reflection, and mindfulness so that we can recognize and respond to moments that demand engagement. Are we prepared to listen, to observe, and to act when an opportunity to contribute or learn arises unexpectedly? The arrival of the chosen ones, in this sense, is as much a mirror to our own capacities as it is a phenomenon to be studied or admired. Finally, their emergence invites reflection on the nature of potential itself. Potential is not inert, it is relational and responsive, dependent on circumstances, insight, and timing. Observing or encountering these individuals challenges us to consider our own readiness. How can we nurture our capabilities so that we are not merely passive observers when extraordinary moments arrive? How can we foster awareness, resilience, and ethical sensitivity to engage with influence responsibly? In doing so, we discover that the study of the chosen ones is not only about their actions, but also about the cultivation of awareness and agency in ourselves, preparing us to respond meaningfully when life shifts in unexpected ways. As we reflect further, it becomes clear that the presence of these individuals is not only about what they accomplish, but also about the questions they provoke in those who witness them. Their arrival challenges assumptions, routines, and expectations. It asks us to consider how we engage with change, uncertainty, and the unknown. How often do we pause to recognize opportunity, to assess our own readiness, or to confront the limitations of our perception? The chosen ones serve as catalysts, not simply for external outcomes, but for internal reflection, prompting us to examine how we respond when the world shifts without warning. Their influence often demonstrates that timing and insight are inseparable. It is not merely about talent, knowledge, or ambition in isolation. It is about the capacity to act with awareness in the precise moment when conditions align. This combination, preparedness meeting circumstance, is what allows certain individuals to exert influence that resonates beyond immediate observation. While their arrival may appear sudden or unexpected, it is often the culmination of subtle preparation, keen observation, and persistent engagement with the world around them. In this way, their emergence reminds us that readiness is a continuous process, not a single act. At the same time, their presence invites humility. We cannot predict exactly when influence will manifest, nor can we control the unfolding of events. Instead, we are called to cultivate attentiveness, resilience, and discernment. Are we capable of seeing significance in the small, quiet movements of life? Or do we wait for grand gestures before acknowledging change? The chosen ones challenge us to sharpen our awareness, to recognize that the extraordinary often arrives silently, without spectacle, and that the ripples of impact are as subtle as they are profound. Observing this phenomenon encourages reflection on our own capacities, how we perceive, respond, and engage with moments that demand clarity, ethical consideration, and courage. Finally, their emergence illuminates the interconnected nature of influence. No individual exists in isolation, and no action occurs in a vacuum. The presence of someone poised to act decisively interacts with a network of circumstances, relationships, and perceptions, creating effects that extend far beyond what is immediately visible. In this sense, the chosen ones are reminders that influence is relational, ethical, and generative. Their impact asks us to consider the ways we contribute, respond, and participate in the unfolding patterns of life. Ultimately, reflecting on the arrival of such individuals encourages a deeper awareness of timing, potential, and ethical engagement. It invites us to observe without attachment, act with discernment, and cultivate readiness for moments that arise without warning. In recognizing the quiet power of presence, the subtlety of influence, and the alignment of opportunity and preparation, we are reminded that life's most significant shifts often occur without prelude. The challenge is not merely to witness these shifts, but to engage with them consciously, responsibly, and thoughtfully, embracing the lessons they offer about human potential, preparedness, and the profound effects of presence. Sometimes the influence of these individuals extends beyond what we can measure or immediately perceive. Their presence creates subtle shifts in thought, energy, and awareness that ripple through communities, organizations, and even entire societies. Have you ever experienced a moment when a single encounter, a phrase, or an action changed the way you viewed a situation, challenged your assumptions, or inspired you to act? These are the quiet markers of profound impact, the signature of someone whose timing, insight, and ethical clarity intersect with circumstances in a way that transforms perception. What is particularly striking about the chosen ones is their unpredictability. They do not conform to schedules, expectations, or conventional definitions of influence. Their arrival is unannounced, and yet their presence demands attention, reflection, and sometimes action. Philosophers and social theorists have long observed that influence is relational. It emerges not from position or authority alone, but from the interplay between awareness, readiness, and the conditions surrounding an individual. The chosen ones exemplify this principle. They appear when the circumstances are ripe, equipped with insight, focus, and the ability to navigate complexity with subtlety and precision. Their influence also teaches us about responsibility. When someone enters a space with clarity and purpose, it inevitably prompts those around them to respond. Will we engage thoughtfully, learn, and adapt, or will we remain passive, missing the opportunity to grow? The arrival of such individuals challenges us to cultivate readiness, discernment, and ethical awareness. It asks us to consider how we participate in the unfolding of events and how our own actions and perceptions contribute to the outcomes around us. Observing their presence is an invitation to examine our own preparedness, resilience, and capacity to act in moments of uncertainty. Moreover, these encounters remind us that influence is rarely about spectacle. The most profound shifts often occur quietly, in moments that go unnoticed by the broader world. The chosen ones operate in this subtle domain, where timing, insight, and ethical engagement converge to produce effects that are transformative yet often invisible at first. They challenge the notion that significance must be loud or obvious, demonstrating instead that the most meaningful impact can arise from attentiveness, reflection, and precise action. Finally, recognizing the dynamics of the chosen ones encourages us to explore our own potential. What qualities allow individuals to respond effectively to critical moments? How can we cultivate awareness, readiness, and ethical clarity so that when circumstances shift unexpectedly, we are prepared to engage meaningfully? Their presence serves as both a mirror and a guide, reflecting what is possible when preparation meets opportunity and guiding us toward a more conscious, thoughtful approach to life's uncertainties. In the end, the study of these individuals is not about idealization or assigning supernatural significance. It is about understanding timing, influence, and the ethical responsibility that comes with awareness, and about preparing ourselves to act with clarity and integrity when unexpected moments arrive.